And welcome back to Major Impact. Every year on June 27th, HIV.gov promotes National HIV Testing Day to highlight and encourage HIV testing. So the question is, have you been tested? And today we are super thrilled to have an incredibly inspiring Dorine Drake with us, a true survivor who has overcome the tremendous challenges it is living with HIV, and she is now living life to the fullest at 56. So from the moment she learned she was HIV positive, she absolutely refused to let the diagnosis define her. And today she is not only surviving, but thriving. Welcome to the show, Dorine.
Thank you so much. I'm so honored to be here. I appreciate you, Terry. That was a great introduction.
Yes,
every day is my birthday.
Yes, come on, somebody.
Yeah. Dorine, it is truly a pleasure to have you. And I got to make a point of information. POI, we love your daughter, London. She's forever a part of our Connect family. Yes. But thank you so much for joining us. And truly, thank you for your bravery. If I can jump straight into it, can you take us back to the day that you found out or you learned that you were HIV positive? Were you feeling sick? Did your partner tell you? Like, can you take us through that day if that's okay?
Back in 93, I was 23 years old. Think about it. When you were 23, I was still a baby, but I was in love. My ex came home. He was headed to Saudi Arabia for a government work assignment, and they had to do vaccines and testing on him. And he came home and said, well, they found out, I got to tell you something. And I was like, okay, we was cool. We was together for a while. And he said, this is what happened. He didn't say it like that, but that's how he said it. And I was like, wow, okay, let me get tested. Because that was my man, and I was going to hang out with him regardless to the end. So, and I went to the doctor. Something told me, well, he knew. Something told me that I was going to be positive because I was very sexually active with him. We were engaged, so, you know, we was doing everything. So when I got the news from the doctor, it was like, wow, okay. It really didn't hit me hard because I kind of knew because he had his diagnosis. When I got the news, I kind of, you know, I was sad, but then I was like, okay, we still together. We're just going to do what we have to do to maintain our health.
That is a really good perspective, right? Like you were ready to ride or die. This has happened to us, but we are not going to consider this as the end, right? So when you received that fateful news, how did that affect your relationship?
We were ride or die at that point. You know, I was pretty popular. He was popular. And I figured, I don't know what he figured. I figured we were riding together. We didn't have to tell anybody because at that time it was so taboo. People were dying. It was a gay man's disease. And here I am, a heterosexual woman.
The reason why your story is so powerful is because back then, this wasn't the environment that you were in. And so when did you decide to actually share this information? And then what happened to that relationship as a result?
Well, I decided to tell my closest friends, and that resulted in them not being my friends anymore because it was like used as a weapon against me. I say because I was the popular friend, that was used as like, oh, you're not all that. You know, this is what she's going through. Let me tell y'all about this. And it got back to me. But my personality leads me to forgive people and move on. Delete them and move on. But when I told my mom, she was the type to say, why you? I have 2 drug addicted sisters who she was like, why you? And they are fine. So that was that dilemma.
How were you able to cope with getting through this? Who was your support system? Who was your village through this process, being that you only told a certain amount of people? Like, who was your village, really?
My motivation was my daughter. My daughter, London Knighton, is, I had to look at her and say, Because when I had her, it was like, she's not going to go through what I went through. Meaning, I got spanked, I got whooped. I'm not going to hit my child. I'm not going to treat her like this. I had to a couple of times, but all I had to do was give her a look. So when I had my daughter, it kind of changed my life. And then that happened, that even heightened our relationship. She didn't know anything about it, but I said, I'm going to survive for her.
So actually, Miss Dorine, that really brings me to the question of how did you have the courage to share your diagnosis with your daughter? What was that conversation like? And, how did you help her understand?
Okay, that conversation came. Okay, my daughter is a superstar. She's been a superstar since she was born. So I made everything possible that she can be in the music industry. We moved to Atlanta when she graduated high school. She got signed 2 weeks in college. And after that, she was in the music industry. And you all know the stigma behind HIV. I hid my story for like 16 years. When London told me she was ready to have some sex, I said, let me tell you what's up. At that time, we became glued to the hip. It was like, oh no, mom, and not you. But I had to let her know, you got to protect yourself, because I'm older. I'm 56. My mom was one of the moms. You kissed a boy, I don't want to hear it. You wanted to talk about sex, I don't want to hear it. My sister actually told me the ropes, because our parents wasn't talking about sex. So that made us closer and made me tell her what was going on with me, because she was ready. At about 17, 18 years old, it was like, okay, you need to know what's going on with me. Mind you, I hid it all those years because, like I said, the industry she was in, that stigma, I had to choose to date wisely because I didn't want nobody to really know my secret that I really didn't trust. So that was that. I've always been undetectable. So I've always taken care of myself. And I always say, I don't want anything else. So I protected myself.
I absolutely love it. And thank you so much for your transparency, because that conversation with your mom is a lot different than that conversation with your friends, a lot different than that conversation with your child. And so let's talk about, look, come on, somebody. So let's talk about it. How do you do that? How does that conversation come about with dating? And do you have any tips for parents having difficult conversations with their children?
Please talk to your children. I'm very active on social media. I get so many DMs. People, please talk to your children, because they think they're still virgins if they do it the other way. Please talk to your children about other STDs that they can get other than the ones that are life-changing. There's, in my generation, because I'm over 50, there's hepatitis C, that's incurable. There's herpes, that's incurable. And HIV, that's incurable. And kids are having sex. Some kids were born with it, and they're having partners. So, they are not disclosing. So you have to, is a ever-changing train.
Going on along the lines of communication. So let's talk about dating, right? And courting. And so, over the years, you have had different relationships. How do you go about being courted? And when do you kind of share, the information about being HIV positive? How does that conversation come about?
I've always been popping, sexy, cute, whatever. People don't believe me when I tell them. Wow. So no, there's people like me, look like I don't have it. I have it, but I have to pick my conversations wisely, and the people who I want to date wisely. They have to be a mature level. I was single for a long time. Then I got married, and then, that ended in divorce. Like I said, I've dealt with plenty problems that other women have dealt with too. But courting and dating, it's like today. You just got to choose your people wisely and be honest. And if they're going to be for you, they're going to be for you.
And thank you for sharing that. And you're right, you look fabulous. And it's true, like you said, you just never know. And HIV really has no face or look to it. but now you are truly an advocate and an author. We see the books behind you there and so much more. How has your journey as a survivor influenced your advocacy work, particularly in raising awareness about HIV and supporting others facing the similar health challenges? And we'll talk about the books as well, because they right there.
I moved to Hawaii 6 years ago. I had been writing my book since it happened in my head, and I've had journals, but I've journaled over the years, and sometimes I might cuss, sometimes I might say hallelujah. So I had a whole bunch of books that I was journaling in, and I didn't know how or when I was going to tell my story. But when I moved to Hawaii, the missile was coming to kill us. There was a missile scare that lasted for 30 minutes, January 18, 2018, coming from China to Hawaii. And for 30 minutes, I said a prayer with London on the phone. People was jumping off of buildings, putting their kids in manholes. And God said, tell your story or you're going to die with it. I wrote my book, co-wrote it with London. She helped me get all the cuss words out.
And it's called He Knew.
She helped me. He knew. And he knew is based on the fact that my ex knew he was infected when he infected me. But God also knew that I needed to go through this journey to be who I am. And my grandma always said, just be a good person, because look at where I'm at right now on the Connect Network.
Helping and empowering and encouraging so many. Let's just be honest, because it does not have to be a death sentence. You are a beautiful woman, thriving, successful, and helping other people. And so I'm glad that you talked about, the relationship with the man that, infected you. So how did that relationship actually end with your ex-fiance?
Ooh, he was still out here for the streets. Even though we had this in common, he was still infecting other people. Knowingly. I ended it with him because found out he had another baby coming. He was still doing whatever. I did hair for 25 years. I dated B-boys, you know what I'm saying? I don't want to give the secret away because you can read it in my book. It's on Amazon, Audible, Kindle, and however you want to get it. But he knew, because several years later, I ran into his wife. And she didn't know. So hence the book, the title came, He Knew.
Wait a minute. I'm sorry. That is a huge cup of tea. What now?
Did you? Okay, I know we got to read the book, but did you end up telling her?
Yeah, we gotta read. I gotta read this book.
Okay.
His ex-wife was a DC police officer, and when she found out, she shot him. Oh, I can't tell y'all the whole story, but it's on Amazon, Kindle, and Audible.
Listen,
and London already wrote the movie, so stay tuned for
Oh, who gonna play you in the movie?
Y'all.
I was saying your hat done fell off. That's literally mind blown.
Right, London Knighton.
Okay. Oh yes, we gonna do like the Ice Cube and stuff. I like that. The daughter.
Yes, my book is for everybody. My book is to encourage everybody to tell their story, or I use it for therapy. I wrote because it was like when I wrote my book, it was like, now I done said it. What you got to say?
Right.
That's it. And I came back home after 5 years being in Hawaii to hang with my mom. And now my mom has gone with the angels. It's time for me to return through the rainbow. That's my new book, Through the Rainbow, because I'm still living and thriving and surviving. And Bunny's Babies. That's my other book. It's my children's book because I'm a nanny and I babysit kids. And those are my babies.
Love it.
Oh, I love all of this. Oh my goodness. I got to get this book because you dropped all the tea and this is going to be the best movie ever. I can't wait to see it. But I I do have a little question for you that's back to the business.
Okay.
Let's talk about medication, because you did mention earlier you are undetected, you are healthy, and you are shining bright. So how has your life adjusted to accommodate your medication and things you need to do to take care of yourself?
Okay. For several years, I didn't take any medication because I didn't need any. But with the new research, they say it lays dormant because everything does. So I started Cabenuva. Cabenuva is a shot that I take once every 2 months in the buttocks. So I'm getting a little big booty. So I'm getting my butt shots every 2 months, y'all. Wait, look, stay tuned. So it's for people who's undetectable to stay undetectable.
So listen, Queen, you have to let me know, for those out there who are going through this situation or something similar, and they are just afraid to speak out loud, what are some tips you have for them? I know you said writing is therapeutic. How can I tell my story if I don't want anyone to know?
Well, I used to talk to anybody who would listen at the bus stop, a cab driver. If I would write it down and like write a letter, and I wouldn't send it, but I would write it in a letter and put it to the side. And that stuff adds up. It adds to your memory, because if it's your story, you already have it in your head. And Amazon does it free. I just get the royalties. I just don't have to sell copies.
Did all of that help you process what you were going through?
It did for me, because like I said, I was a different person at 23. So over the years, I was cussing people out. I was canceling people out because I know what you said about me. They done already told me, but then you're going to be over here smiling in my face, which brings me to my joy now, because I'm a 56-year-old woman. I came home, people not even walking straight no more at my age. They ain't got all their teeth. So I'm just like, they be like, girl, you look good. I'm like, oh, you too. But I know what you said about me. So it's okay. God is my protector.
Come on.
And if you've already said it, what shame do I have? And a lot of people, like I said, if you want to write a book, you can change their names. You can talk about everybody you want to take and just make them characters in your head.
Living your best life at 56 is truly inspiring. So we thank you for being here, for sharing your incredible story, your journey, and insights with us. Your story is a true testament to the power of resilience and the human spirit. So we look forward to hearing so much more about your impactful work and continue to hear about your inspiring stories. But we must know, love, how can viewers reach you and buy your books and support you?
I am Dorine Drake on Google, Google me, or Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. You can look up books by Dorine Drake. You'll see Bunny's Babies and He Knew. I'm working on my new book called Through the Rainbow, because I'm going back to Hawaii. Aloha.
Thank you so much again for joining us. Stay right where you are, Connect fam. We will be right back. Such a great show. There's more to come.
Hi, I'm Ananda Lewis. I help women thrive. You can find me on Instagram at I'm Ananda Lewis, or on my new app, Elixir, available in all app stores right now. And you're watching the Connect Network TV.